everybody.
Sean and Kelly here, Price and Price Group of Samson Properties. And Kelly, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about 4 more things that you must do to write an amazingly winning offer to get it accepted by your seller.
That's right. Here we go. Okay, so we are going through our video series, 4 steps at a time on different things that can be done to write a winning offer in this competitive market. Now, at the time of this shooting, we are towards the end of summer and the market is kind of slowing a little bit, but we are anticipating school has started. But we are anticipating as the interest rates continue to come down and we get out of the end of the summer season, it's going to start picking right back up. So these points are going to become very valid.
Right.
And you don't have to use all of them.
Yeah.
Just pick the ones that work for you, but discuss them with your agents because these are all very valid strategies.
I don't want to hit on that for a second too. Hang on. I'm interjecting. I'm trying to be really quick. But the fact that usually in the fall, we're going to be talking about the market slowing down a little after a really hot and heavy summer and everything else. But that is not the case this year because everyone has been waiting for what we actually agree, the rates to go down a little bit here in September. So, and then, the whole election year and all of that kind of stuff. So.
Which, speaking of the election year, next week we're going to shoot a special report over what has historically happened based on the elections over the last.
I didn't know we were doing this.
Yeah, I just found out about it too. Right here.
You just found out in your head? Wow.
So we're going to see what's happened over the last multiples, I guess, of election cycles to see what we can kind of expect to happen with this year's election cycle.
Yeah, which is a good way or a place to remind everyone that we are in the DMV area. That's DC, Virginia, and Maryland. And that's why election year really, really matters to us here.
That's very true. Okay. All right. So let's review what we talked about on the last video. The first 4 we talked about, and we're not going to go in depth in these. If you would like to learn exactly what our brilliance was.
It was so amazing.
It was great. Go back and watch that video. All right. The first one is go over asking price when it's appropriate, when the timing's appropriate and it's appropriate for the property.
Yeah.
Okay. That's step 1. Step 2.
Relationships matter so much. Relationships matter. That's agent to agent, you to agent.
Yeah.
All the relationships matter. Agent to all of their colleagues, lender, title, all of that. We kind of hit that.
Connections matter. Yep. Number 3 is consider a local lender versus a national lender when it's needed, and we went into detail on that one.
Yeah, and why, and what. I have such a tendency to want to go into it again because it's so important. I'm not. I'm leaving it alone.
You're going to want to go deep on this one, but you can't.
I'm not going deep. The other one, the 4th one we went over was get a POFA. And you don't know what a POFA means, so go back and watch it.
Very well done.
You.
Yeah, lost lead. Not lost lead, but yes, a hook. Okay. Number 5. First one we're going to talk about today in depth, and number 5 overall is consider submitting more information that's required when you submit your offer. So in the example of this is if you send a pre-approval letter from your lender and you're putting 20% down on an offer, send over the proof of funds for the 20%.
Right.
This will make the seller's agent feel more comfortable. They'll know that you're financially strong. It'll help the seller feel more comfortable, and it shows that you are putting your best foot forward and you are just making every effort you can to get this property.
Right, and even more information, right, that you're going to share with us, your real estate agent. Allow us to share with them, hey, they could put more money down, but they want to keep some on hand for a potential appraisal gap. Or something in case the inspection comes up because it's not contingent on inspections. They want to have cash for this. If the seller is more agreeable to a higher down payment than this, then they know that you're flexible on that. So that's really, really important.
And what is your point there? Your point is relationships matter because that's all communication between the agents.
Yeah, so, and not all agents are willing to do that for multiple reasons.
We'll often get offers written to us. We'll receive an offer in our inbox and we'll have never spoken to the agent. We won't know anything about what's going on.
Right.
So that series of communication with the agents is very important.
We've even had one, and I think anecdotes are really, really great to drive a point home. That's why I'm doing this. I'm not harping. And weird.
Not that you're a harper.
But I'm a harpy. Isn't that like sorry, tangent.
Okay.
No, I do have a point to make
Okay.
this. We did have a situation come up where we had one of those offers come in, like you're talking about. The agent had not asked us, and maybe they asked, "Do you have any other offers?"
Right.
And then the offer came in, and it just said highest and best, and then the offer was attached.
I know what you're talking about.
So we had multiple offers, and we're in communication with the other agents and having a good dialogue, a good back and forth, knowing the situations with everyone. Then it comes time to ask for highest and best. All we can assume is that's their highest and best. We're not going to bend over backwards to ask them for any more, right? And then they were like, well, what'd you go under contract for? Maybe we could have beat it. They never said they could, which is how we knew they couldn't. But they were like, you don't know if we couldn't have beaten it. You don't know this. And that's the kind of agent to agent thing we're talking about. There are agents of different varieties all over the place. You want to make sure you're working with one who plays nice and communicates well, not only to you, but to the other agents, right?
And how they communicate to you is a good example of how they're going to communicate in general.
Yes.
But
or how they're going to communicate to you about others.
Yeah, that's huge.
I mean, we tell our kids that all the okay.
So we're talking about communication agents.
I know.
Again.
I went back to communication.
Okay.
We're going to talk about that all the
time. Okay. So the next point. So number one is consider submitting more information than needed. Number two is get very, very comfortable with pre-offer inspections.
Right.
When you're in a situation where there's multiple offers, somebody is going to waive the inspection contingency. That is very appealing to a seller. So get comfortable with when it's allowed by the seller to go in and do a pre-offer inspection. They can get somewhat expensive, but it lets you know what you're buying, and it lets you go into that offer with a contingency-free situation with regards to inspections.
And of course, 2 points I want to hit on this.
Of course.
One on the side of, well, why wouldn't a seller be comfortable with home inspections, right? Does that mean they're trying to sell me a bag of tricks? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
And really not usually, not typically. Usually it's really, really great. But, there are home inspectors out there who feel like you, the buyer, are getting your money's worth the more red flags they raise.
Yep.
And agents who know this. So perhaps your seller's agent knows, oh my gosh, they're getting this home inspector. I know that they're going to create this and they're going to be alarmist to make them feel like they're doing a good job. And it can go down a bad path, right? Even though that seller, if like, hey, some outlets don't work, well, great, I'm happy to fix the outlets.
So that's a good example. So an example of what that could look like. Let's say that a light fixture doesn't work. A good inspector is going to say, it could be a light bulb. It could be an electrical issue, but it could be simply a light bulb. I'm not going to get up there and unscrew it and change it. This isn't my house.
They're really not allowed to do that, right?
So an alarmist inspector is going to say, you got to be really careful. This could be an electrical issue. It could cost you thousands of dollars to get an electrician in here.
If it's happening to one, it could start happening all over the house.
So that's the difference. And then the way they word it in their report as well. So you want inspectors who are realists, who are going to let you know when there are potential problems, but give you like the reality of what it actually could be.
So that's one of the things in the mindset of why the seller would rather forego that. And then let me hit on the only negative for you, the buyer, is maybe you're coming out of pocket for a couple of different home inspections if it doesn't work for the first house or two, however many. So you are paying, and what is it? It's based on size. So it's a few $100s.
A couple $100 for a pre-offer inspection.
So there is the added expense of doing it like that without knowing if you're even going to win the offer.
Yeah.
But if I start looking weird, I'm about to have to sneeze.
So, and the example you were given of why a seller wouldn't want an inspection contingency, you were talking about in the contract, correct?
In the contract, yeah. Why they would rather have, why they would accept an offer non-contingent on a home inspection versus one with a home inspection. So
there is everything that she just said, and something that is very important with regards to the flexibility of a contingency. An inspection contingency gives a buyer an out for any reason as long as they have a professional inspection done. So if they have an inspection done within that week time period or whatever the contingency is, and let's say they all of a sudden get cold feet, they're like, or I found a better house.
Another house came on the market that they wanted more.
Anything, all they have to do is say, I'm voiding on an inspection contingency as long as there's one item on that contingency. And it could be a light bulb's out. and all they have
Yeah.
to say is I'm voting on that. So it's
Yeah.
a free out for the buyer.
It's a free pass.
Yeah, so that's why sellers don't like that as
That's
well.
a good point. I'm glad you brought that up.
Thank you. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, and this is where you have to have a Kelly working with you.
That's me, baby. I'm a Kelly.
Yes, you have to have a contract that is submitted with all of the blanks filled in. It's accurately completed. It makes sense. Everything is filled out correctly. When your agent submits an offer that is incorrectly done, that puts the seller in a position, even if they want to accept the offer, they have to go back and forth, and it technically becomes a counter. They cannot ratify a good offer. So, and it's extra work for the seller's agent. So if a seller's agent's sitting there and they're looking at 10 offers and 2 of them are written just horribly, they're going to disregard that because that tells them how that agent's going to be in the transaction, how they're going to be with settlement, how they're going to be with the title company, with the lender. They will disregard that offer and go with the 8 that are well written and find the best one.
Right.
So you have to have somebody like Kelly who can write the heck out of a contract.
That's right, I can.
That's right.
It looks plug and play, but they're not, because all the different fields, they interact with each other in various ways. And we get so many offers on properties for sellers where it's like,
What?
well, wait, if this, then this can't be true.
That's
and
right.
and it's just, it's crazy.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah,
okay,
thank
so that's
you.
number 3.
You need a me.
Yep. And number 4, this one's a little bit ironic because we are using handwritten notes because our printer is down here at the office. But if you have an agent who is very old school and just refuses to use a computer, do not submit an offer handwritten, because you can't read them sometimes. And just do it electronically. COVID changed everything. Handwritten contracts are just pretty much unacceptable at this point. Make sure you're using a computer generated offer.
That's true.
That is true, but not for notes.
It's weird, but true, right?
It is true.
Doesn't seem
Weird.
like it should matter.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, that would be when you don't want a Kelly. My handwriting is for
Oh
sure.
my gosh, that would be horrible. Okay, so that's this 4 for this week, and we'll have 4
This
more.
four.
This 4 for
That's
this.
this
That's
4.
these 4s for this week.
Like I said, Nashin the other day.
That's right. For Nashin.
And our Nashin.
All right. If you guys have any questions for us, let us know. If you have any topics, everything is kind of up in the air right now with the elections and the market and all kinds of different things. If you guys have any questions about the market that you'd like for us to
because otherwise we just do what they decide inside here.
Yes.
And I find out about it later. Because remember you were like, and next week we're going to talk about this. Right. And I'm like, yeah, you said we just decided.
Okay, anyway, let us know so that maybe we'll have a common direction for the next set of videos.
We as in you and the people in your head?
That's
or
right.
Me
there's
and you?
A lot of
like, is there a we?
Anyway, let us know if you have any questions. We'll see you guys on next week's video.